Hey everybody, how's it going? So welcome back to our Planet Coaster Park, which rose to fame in the 90s and noughties. And over the last few episodes, we've been focusing on the 90s. And now we bring it into the mid-noughties by introducing arguably the most iconic coaster of them all, the B&M Invert. Let's go. And you know what, you guys? Nothing screams mid-noughties roller coaster more than a disgustingly garish colour scheme on one of the best coaster models out there at the time. Now, of course, there have been many layouts since they were first introduced in the mid-90s. Some of them are absolute classics, but this week we're focusing on the sweet spot of them all. 2006, when Black Mamba was first introduced. So by that point, the model had been around for long enough to perfect itself, but not too long that it was now boring to the public. And this is what we've ended up with, this cacophonous mess of pink and yellow. And I absolutely love it. I am so here for it. Look at how it sits on the skyline. It's just perfect. It's just eye-catching and disgusting. Yes. And it's perfectly positioned in this part of the park as well. So this is obviously the new part of the park we're developing. It will filter down to the left. It will filter down to the right. And of course it will go to the back. I have moved the Skyride station back a little bit. And I think it needs to go back a little bit more just to pad out the back end. So I do. That's what she said. So I do have plans and stuff for this back end area. But let's focus on what we've got here. This absolute thrilling, stunning mess. It's going to need custom supporting. Let's not lie about this. It's not going to be such a mess once it's once it's done. But yeah, this is what we're looking at. It's beautiful. It's a good layout. I love it, and it does it all in one go as well. By the way, so there's no mid-course brake runs or anything. It's great. Look at this cattle pen hell. It's totally Raptor at Cedar Point. Let's not even lie about this. I've put it in as a placeholder, but I think I've fallen in love with it, so it might actually end up staying. Now I have put the queue line over the top this side, so it loads from this side at the back end as we're looking at it. It made sense for the queue to do that rather than the exit to do that, so that's what we've got. Photo point is going to be here, and of course it's on the side of a hill, so you're getting the best you can in terms of sight lines. There we go. Look at the sight lines. Love it, love it, love it. So layout then. We start in the station. We come into the pre-drop and then into the lift hill. It does a pre-drop because it's quite a distance between the station and the lift hill. And so it hits the brake run here and then into the lift hill. I think it's about 12 mile an hour by the time it's finished. And then the lift hill itself is 30 degrees. It's your typical lift hill. I think it's set to 9 mile an hour going up the lift hill. And then it comes into the first drop. And the first drop on inverts are actually weird to profile. I mean, you've seen me do it before. You saw me do it in Chacholandia, and you've seen me do it again. Now, even though they are similarly profiled, they're never the same. So, like, you might look at this and go, but this is wrong. You know, this profiling is wrong. And it's not. It's correct for the coaster layout that follows it. So that's the thing that you need to consider when it comes to the first drops on inverts. If you compare this to something like Talon, for example, yeah, it's wrong because Talon is steeper. If you compare it to Nemesis Inferno, well, yes, it's wrong because Nemesis Inferno is shallower. So you kind of have to then put the two together and say, well, okay, compare the two, Talon and Nemesis Inferno, and you'll find that this drop falls somewhere in the middle. And that's because you want to control the speed and you want to control the train through the rest of the layout that is coming. So I knew for this one that I needed to stretch the layout slightly because I needed a bit more space here, a bit more space here to stick a path through, and then I wanted to turn around in this area. So as a result, this is then correctly profiled for the layout that follows it. Yeah, there is no rule. They don't have to all look the same. So Talon, for example, is far more banked at this point because then it dives down, I think it's about 60 degrees, whereas Nemesis Inferno doesn't bank so much at the top because it doesn't go down so quick. Anyway, I've waffled about first drops for a while. Let's talk about the rest of the layout. So it comes into your typical... Let's get the camera right as well, shall we? Sorry, probably feeling sick right now. So it comes down into your typical first three inversions, right? So it comes into your vertical loop, comes into your 0G roll, and then comes into your Immelman. That's pretty standard. You find that on most inverts. It then dives underneath the path. I wanted there to be this interaction with the path. Again, I wanted the feeling of Black Mamba going on. And then it comes into this overbanked turn pass. Now, on Black Mamba, which also has one of these, by the way, the track crosses over itself. It's a way of putting in an Immelman without putting in an Immelman. But for this one, I actually wanted it to have a fly past of the lift hill, a fly past over the 0G roll, and then fly past over by the station. I needed space to be able to bring the track out and above, and then the track underneath and through, and thread it through, so it's like just a mess. And I think it works out quite nicely, because then you get this awesome flyover. Here we go. Here it comes. So you get this awesome flyover over the path, and then into the corkscrew, into an overbanked turn, and then into another corkscrew. And that's, by the way, done by design. And I have actually used the in-game I've used the in-game corkscrews. Not even sorry, they're good enough for what we're trying to achieve here. Particularly as this bit here has to level out. You can't continue it banked and then into a corkscrew. It just doesn't ride correctly. You have to sort of correct your position to then go back the same way that you were. There's one thing I have learnt over this one, over building this coaster. And then after that, it flies past into this really strange looking like pre-drop. Again, Black Mamba does this. You don't really notice it when you're on ride, but Black Mamba actually does this, and then comes up into a 0G, which brings us out over by the station, and into our final helix, and then into our brake run. Service area then is going to be in this kind of area, and as I said, we're loading in the queue from this side. So that's kind of how it looks from the top. Now you'll spot that there are some supporting rides in this area. Yes, there is. Again, this park wouldn't be complete without the trio of drop towers. We are still going to put the Roto Tower in, where we were talking about it the other week, but I wanted to have these in. I honestly thought I could chain these together so that they were triggered and you wouldn't then get the penalty that the game gives you for using multiple rides in the same park, but hey, I'll take the penalty, it's fine. These are programmed to do different things. So I think one goes up and down, one shoots up, then down, and then this one just does some random stuff in the middle. So they all do have different prestiges and stuff. But this is the queue line that I've set up for it. They're all roughly the same length, believe it or not. This one doesn't look like it is the same length, but I promise it is. Holds about the same number of people. Just need to get this out with concrete and stuff, and then we are good to go. So this is the this is the area from the top. I'm going to stop waffling, and I'll see you in a minute. Well, this is the update where nothing has changed and everything has changed at the same time. And you know, I talk about the scope of the episode. That's basically how much I want to get built in a single episode. The eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed that that has rapidly expanded. I have started to work on the area down here. I've put something that the fans will enjoy in this area, and we've got a coaster that's living in this area. I've actually started to put in the Intamin launched coaster, and this is what you are naming this week, please. So in the comments section, please put your name suggestions, and as always, we will put that to the vote. So that means that when we do this episode, we'll have 3 name winners. It'll work out. So the reason that I had to expand the scope on this is because I couldn't make this area make any sense. It was just not coming out of my brain. I had proper creator's block, so I had to do all of the stuff down here just to make it all make sense. We'll talk you through that in a moment, but this is the coaster. Now I've done all of this bit down here. This now feels like it's making sense. It's custom supported. I've done them already, and yeah, not perfect, and no custom supporting I ever do will be perfect, but it does what it needs to do. Like, for example, the loops here, this bend, turn, whatever you're going to call it. It's been slightly reprofiled, by the way. I just wanted to smooth it out slightly. When I showed you the first one, it only had one smooth pass. It's had 4 now, so it's all good to go. But I'm liking how this area is starting to come together, because it's so garish and it's so disgusting that it fits in perfectly. It's like the proper juxtaposition of the area next to it. It definitely feels like, in fact, you know what? It feels like there should have been an SLC. That's how it feels. They spent far too much money on an SLC and they went to the wrong manufacturer. So up on the station area then, I'm taking quite a lot of cues from Skyrush at Hershey Park. It felt like we needed to drag some of that Hershey Park stuff back. You know, we were talking about the Whole park having the Hershey Park vibe. So the Sky Rush station is pretty decent. Like, I like the Sky Rush station. So this is what we're going for here. So we've got the photo unit, which obviously I haven't kitted out and stuff yet, but that will get done eventually. And then we have something that I have never ever done before, the bag drop. I've done a bag drop. Now the reason that I've done that is because I've ended up changing the station. So it was originally set up so that you would come in this way. The queue came over the top here and into this area. It didn't make sense. It wasn't until I looked at Sky Rush's configuration I thought, actually, Sky Rush makes more sense. It's a same load and exit strategy, or same side, so you load in this way and you exit this way, and that then meant I had far more freedom to put in the maintenance area and transfer track and stuff here instead. It just feels like this makes far more sense. So as a result, what we've ended up with is a bag drop here, because this is quite a big coaster, has quite a big throughput. You couldn't put or you couldn't do my usual thing, and that's put all of the bag holding stuff in here. It just wouldn't hold enough baggage because you've got 2 trains. It could run 3, but you've got 2 trains. So I've ended up doing a baggage drop in here. It's not done. It's just representative at the moment of how I want it to be, but you know, it is what it is. Inside the station, I've started the process of kitting it out. It's not completely done, and these beams, by the way, these top beams here, this one that's sticking up that's not complete, they'll be hidden by a ceiling. So I am going to copy that from Sky Rush. So these beams and everything will be hidden. But I have just started to put in the row numbers, the exit, and of course remember that the stations for Planet Coaster don't include any kind of supports for inverted coasters. So I've actually started to put these in. This is what these are. And then living behind here, we've spoken about this in previous episodes, but living behind here are all of the mechanisms that make the restraints work. There's like air pistons, and there's cable running and all sorts going on back here. And they get hidden by this girder, so then they're not on show and they're protected from the elements. So that's what I'm doing here. Just put in the extra supports and then the runners and stuff that you find that have got all of the air pistons and stuff for the restraints. So that's what we're doing. So over this way, we have ourselves a transfer track, and I quite like how this has turned out. It's pretty much inspired by Nemesis Inferno at Thorpe Park. Pretty much the same. In fact, all inverts have pretty much got the same transfer track and mechanism, right? But I wanted it to be particularly feeling like Nemesis Inferno. So that's what I've done. I put tread plate down, so that's all sorted. And then I just put the mechanism in to actually make the track move. And then, whoops, I've forgotten to change the camera. And then inside here, we do have maintenance area. I've not kitted it out, just yet. And to make this whole area make sense, what I've done is I've actually edited the terrain. So originally the terrain was level and it was flat all along here. That is no longer the case. It's now on the side of a hill. We have a work yard underneath here, and we have access point into this area. And then you would have an entrance point up here. I don't think I'm going to kit out the bottom floor, because I need to clip stuff to make things work right. So I think I'll just end up kitting out the top floor, but it is exactly the same as Nemesis Inferno. There is no direct access to it by crane. It's all done via this lower point. And then the actual ride area itself, I've just started to fence it off, and I've started to get this feeling for how it's going to be. I don't think I'm going to finish this bit off just yet, because I don't know what's coming this end, so it feels like I need to do that bit first. So the plaza area down here, I have started to pull together. I've started to put together some kind of feel for it, and then we've just got this fencing that goes around. This is going to be a big plaza area. This is almost going to be the middle part of the entire park, and yeah, it just feels like this needs to be a big area. So what I've done is I've put in this unit. We've got a copy of it elsewhere, but it's just to put in some kind of ice cream and drinks and stuff in here, and then fans will love it. Toilet time. Yes, Chacho toilets. And of course they're done inside. Like, come on. What do you take me for? Let's just go in. There we go. So of course it's done inside. I just need to put the ceiling and the lights and stuff up, and then make that all make sense. Whoops. Make that all make sense inside, right? But that's ultimately what the look and feel that we're going for in here. It's Western infused because of infused. I don't know what the word is. It's Western influenced. That'll do. Because of the theme we've got back here. So it felt like this probably was here when this may have been a bit of a bigger western area and this monstrosity was put in, and the toilets were never actually repurposed. So that's what we're going for here. And I know I said I didn't know if I was going to take a path down this way. I think I am. I think it needs it because of the stuff that's coming down this way. And then we also have some stuff here. So I've thrown this together really, really quickly. It needs proper detailing and it needs some proper thought, but I just wanted something on the lake, just some food unit on the lake. I also need somewhere to hide a staff unit down in this area, so that's going to be this building. And then I also wanted to make more use of the sight lines across the lake from here. Of course, this is a park that's going to have some very beautiful water-based sight lines, so it felt like it needed some kind of opportunity to have even more. And I mean, even with the launch coaster just on the launch there, it's going to be pretty decent, right? It's going to be pretty decent. And then this area here, I have just started to copy across the look and feel from the very entrance area. You know where we put the plants and stuff along here? But this is raised up. It goes uphill. So it was too much of a sheer drop, and I still don't want to use fences along here. So what I've done is I've actually put a second you don't see that very well because this is in the way. I've put a second level on here, so it's a bit more of a pier, or like a weir, or a quay, if you like, whatever you want to call it. Let's just call it whatever we want. I'll probably put some picnic benches and stuff along here so you can come down and grab some food. But yeah, there's steps that come down here. You're close to the water, and then steps that come back up this way and then back up to the path. I have visions of this being like a lodge. It's not going to be this episode. It's going to get done when I do the launch coaster, right? But yeah, it's going to be some kind of a lodge, I think, that's going to overlook the water. And I want it to be split level, and I want to put facilities and stuff underneath here as well. So watch this space. And then we're going to come up this way for the final bit, and I have just put in some more food units. I've just noticed, by the way, that I've not put any of the in-game game stuff. I haven't forgotten, by the way, about like play to win stuff. And the games that you find, I haven't forgotten about that. I'm just waiting for the entire park to be done so I can go back and retro add them. Because there's certain areas that you add them and certain areas that you don't, based on how busy it's going to be. And at the moment, I don't know what the entire park makeup is like, right? So for now, I'm just putting these in because this is almost like the centre of the park. So just put these in. And a cash machine, because I haven't put any cash machines in the park yet. So, or I have, but it's like, they're not yet. Few and far between, so it's kind of needed. But the design is consistent with the rest of the area, so this is consistent with the station that we've got for the invert, and it'll have the yellow trim and stuff adding to it anyway. But I just wanted to add this. In. And then lastly, the drop towers. So I didn't mention before, by the way, they're in the Chacho colours. Of course they're going to be in the Chacho colours, pink, blue, and yellow. Of course they are. This is the disgusting queue. It's all been fenced off and it's all been fenced out now, so I just need to put the actual queue cover, or the path cover, down. I've just left this area open for some flowers. I don't want to put trees and stuff in, but there will be flowers and whatever. I just wanted to break it up slightly. And then I've also made this a passive pad, so all of this is just going to, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it very well because of the actual rides themselves, but I made these three a passive pad, so they're just going to be one big concrete pad, and that's half the reason that I've put this in here. It kind of stops it from just being a boring one shot pad. And then, because you are controlling three drop towers, each with their individual separate control units, there's also a central control unit as well. This would be where all of the central panels and stuff would be, and the electrics. Haven't done inside here yet, but I will do. It'll all get done. But I wanted it to be on the side of the hill. I don't quite know how I'm going to hide this yet, or this, because it's the sheer drop on the side of the hill. But you know me, I'll pull it off somehow. It will just work. It will just come to life. It'll be foliage that does the trick. Should we have a look? Should we go and see? I wonder what's going to happen. Alright then, you cheeky things. We need to put a pause on this party because this soulless, lifeless roller coaster is supposed to stick out like a sore thumb, and it is not supposed to be integrating into the park like it is. Stop it. We need to stop this now because it's looking too good. And I'm going to be a little bit honest with you. I had very different visions of this. So this is going to be the first time I say this did not go exactly as I wanted it. It just sort of took its own life form on, and it is what it is. Like I say, I wanted it to stick out like a sore thumb. I wanted it to almost almost be a bit barren and a bit unkept, and it was just put in because it was marketable by the park. It was like popular at the time, and they just didn't want an SLC. But actually, it's turned out to be all right. I'm digging it, right? It's looking good now that it's hidden a little bit by trees. It's got quite a bit of personality to it, and this is how it's looking then from the sight lines of like the log flume. It just like pokes out of the top of the trees, and it just works. It's I don't know what else to say. This is how it's looking from the drop of the log flume. So we are just gonna take a real quick walk into the camera just got stuck. We're just gonna get into the plaza area. There we go. And I'm just going to come down a little bit so you can see it. So this sight line is going to be completed over here by the lodge when it comes in here. But this is the plaza area that I wanted. It sort of opens out into this nice wide open space where you have the the invert in front of you, and then you've got Cosmic Cacao next to it. And they kind of play off each other because of the pink, right? So it works. It just fits. Somehow it just works. Like, it's so bad it's almost full circle good. And then this side we've got Lakeside Lunch. So this is the food unit. I've just finished this off. Light touches on here. I didn't want to go too OTT with the detailing and whatever coming out in here, but it's a food unit. Of course, the lodge is going to be the big deal, right? And then you do have the view of the wing coaster over here. Loving this view. I've just realised how drawn out that zero G corkscrew is, and it looks awesome. Anyway, that's not what we're here to do. We're here to look at this pile of crap. I mean, look at it. It's just hideous. But I wanted to give the area a bit of an overgrown feel, almost like it's not unloved. It's just untouched. It's been here for a while, and maybe the path area around it has been configured in multiple different ways, right? So I wanted the path to run alongside it so that you get some pretty good sight lines from wherever you are. And then from the bridge, this is looking so good. Like, B&Ms are just absolutely beautiful when you have path and stuff that goes underneath the track, especially the inverts. They are just perfect, and this is a really good example of the zero G over the path and stuff. So it gets some really awesome interaction. I have put in a path cover here. This comes a little bit too close for my liking. You know what my feelings are of path covers, but health and safety would have other ideas. I felt like it needed to have a Wilderview Mews sign in here somewhere. It felt like this was an area that would have been pretty key when this first opened. And so, yeah, plus the colours match as well, right? So it all makes sense. Yellow is definitely the theme. It just, everywhere you look, you just get some brilliant sightlines of this coaster. This is the thing with the inverts, right? They are pretty good looking coasters. Like, no doubt about it. Anyway, up this way. So the photo booth is now done. I've kitted this out with everything that I wanted to have, and it's looking sweet. And I'm going to talk about these neons in a moment because this has become a bit of a theme of the entire area. So yeah, but I've not changed it from the wing coaster. I'm not going to re-record this. I've copied this from the wing coaster. Not gonna lie. We've got the baggage hold. I didn't actually need to do anything in here, as it turns out. I was looking at the baggage holds for the likes of the Swarm and Smiler and stuff. There's no detailing in this whatsoever needed. It's just literally just a rack of shelves and off you go. So we're good to go. But this is the building, and this is how the building looks with all of its trim and stuff. I toyed with the idea of having guttering on here because I have put guttering on some of these buildings. I toyed with having guttering at this bit here, but I've decided against it. It just doesn't work. I wanted to keep this simple. This coaster doesn't have a theme. It's just generic, and it's taking after, as I said, Sky Rush, but it's now feeling different enough to Sky Rush. So into the station. Lots of stuff that's worked in here. Whoa, hello. Lots of stuff that's worked in here. So I've put all the numbers. Obviously, that was in the last update. But this neon stuff is now a thing. I saw this, and I don't remember where it was. It's a big city, so it'd be somewhere like London or Manchester or Birmingham or somewhere like that, where they had neons that went into the ground, but they were chaser lights. So it was like chasing down as if you were going down some kind of light tunnel and whatever. And I thought, well, actually, if you can put that in such a high traffic public area where they are stuck into the ground, then why not here? It's just it works, right? Why not? And then this is what it looks like at night. So change this to AM. There we go. And that's what it now looks like at night. So I've put pink lights and stuff in here so that it all sort of like fits and it gives a bit of atmosphere. And I dig it, right? It's full circle crap. And that's the whole intensive purposes of this. It's supposed to be... but it works. And I've also done the same over the other side here. So if we just go through the train, there we go. So they're over the other side here. But what I've done is I've actually inverted and I've reversed them. So it goes from yellow to pink and then pink to yellow, and it goes through 4 colours. It was too... There wasn't enough to have 2 colours, and I didn't want to introduce any other additional colours into the mix. So it works, right? Now this side of the platform, of course, is no exit. So it's only for staff. And in case you are wondering, the staff would get to this area across the actual platform in the station itself. This is the view from the baggage area. What a tour this is, guys. I mean, look at this queue. Gross. No, let me just... sorry, there's so much going on scenery-wise that the camera locks to stuff where you've seen it happen before. The camera is locking to a lot of scenery at the moment, so even though you press T to change it to free look, it does auto free look if it locks to scenery. So this is the queue line. I've just kitted it out with the bins and stuff. I need to sort out what's going on around the back here, and how it's going to get up into this hill and whatever. I've got some ideas. Future me's problem, but yeah, that's the actual queue line. And then we have this unit here. I'm chuffed with how this turned out. This is one that turned out better than I thought, because it's nice and simple. Now that the trim is on and the guttering and stuff is in, it looks pretty decent. Like, it's pretty much as I wanted it to be. This is like a bit of a mini arcade. Shove as many games as you possibly can into the space and hope for the best. And yeah, but it's obviously usable by guests because you've got actual in-game ones that are going on. So I'm digging it. I'm digging a lot, actually, this episode. As I said, this is a surprise episode for me because it took on its own little life form. So the 3 towers, this now has a name, Power Tower. It felt like this would have been one of those really cheesy, nasty theming attempts, but generically kept. That's why we've got the rainbow, and then you've just got the 3 colours. So I've put arrows down here so you know which queue is which. It's got yellow, blue, and pink. And then, of course, each one would have their own individual queue times because there are 3 individual separate queues, right? So that's kind of that going on there. But we can't obviously change the fact that the plinths, the columns, whatever these are called, the gates are there. So, but obviously this would be open in real life. So this is what I was talking about with it being a pad. And I'll just put some flowers and stuff in here and the flower beds along here. And this is also one of the best examples that I've been able to do and show you of this diagonal fencing technique where you don't actually level it off as it steps down. You just put this diagonal in because it's symmetrical and it works. It just works. So yeah, this is how it looks then from the main plaza area. The exit only sign, the power tower sign, and there are the towers. Loving life. And then if we come down this way, what I've started to do is just to work on sightlines down here. So I wanted there to be no trees in front of here, so you can actually see into the towers as you're walking up. I felt that was kind of important. It felt like that needed to be done. So yeah, that's what I've done there. And let's now have a look at the maintenance area. So I was like, there's something else I need to show you. What am I forgetting? So the maintenance area. Here we go. Here is the transfer track. Bit of fine detailing and stuff that's been done in here. There's nothing major. There's nothing, you know, too intensive and stuff, but it is done. And then in here, I've kept this nice and tidy, clutter-free. There would be lots more stuff going on in here, but I've put all of the electric fences. No, the electric boxes and stuff in here. Guys, it's so late. I shouldn't be recording at this time of night. It's just not going very well. But do you know what? It's like a car crash. You can't not watch. We're just going to run with it. So, yeah, this is like the maintenance area. I haven't done underneath, as I've said. I needed to put like trees and stuff that clipped through walls and whatever, so I've not done that. And then we've got this bit down here. This is just like clutter going on. backstage clutter. You don't really see it from the trains from above, so you're all right with the stuff down here. So yeah, this is how it is looking. Then I think this has turned out. Oh, toilets! You've not seen the toilets. There we go, toilets. Had its roof put on. Not a lot else has changed really. I've just put a path cover down of the concrete, the in-game rough concrete, and it looks pretty cool. And I've just then flowered this out and just put some foliage and stuff just to tidy up the path. But ultimately, inside here hasn't changed. It's still a toilet. End on a high. So there you go. This is how it is looking from the top. I like how this has turned out. Of course, at the moment I'm creating a bottleneck of guests here, so there will be a way of getting to the top of the hill either via this way or round this way. So this is just working for now. There we go. Let me just get a decent view. So there you go. That's a B&M Invert that's been thrown in that probably should have been an SLC. And we love it. Thank you so much for getting to the end of the episode, guys. I really do appreciate it. You know what to do by now. Leave a like, leave a comment, share the video, subscribe if you're not. You know, all the usual YouTube crap that goes on. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Until we speak again, please look after yourselves. Take care. We're going to go for a ride. Bye-bye.